The hearing of the Financial Services Committee will come to order. For those who were paying attention to yesterday's hearing, I'm going to deviate from the precedent set yesterday and wait for the opening statement before I ask my first question. That will be a change from yesterday's procedure. In fact, I may not even be here for the first question because this is an issue, the National Housing Trust Fund, on which the gentleman from California, the chair of the Housing Subcommittee, and I have been very much engaged in an equal partnership, and she will be presiding over the hearing. I will be, in fact, going over to stop in at the press conference being held by the Homeless Coalition, which recognizes this bill as an important part of their program, since the main cure for homelessness is a home, the absence of which is hard to overcome. I do want to say that this bill is, in my mind, one of the most important we will be considering. I think expanding the children's health insurance program is the single greatest contribution this Congress can make to improving the quality of life for some of our fellow citizens who are most in need of compassionate assistance. But I believe that if we get this bill done, it will be the second most important institutional response. In any one year, the number of units may not look huge, but housing units well constructed, as we believe they will be under this program, last for 30 and 40 and 50 years, so that at the end of a dozen or 15 years, this bill will have made a significant contribution to alleviating one of the great shortages in this country, which is affordable housing. I will leave a lot of the details for later. I do want to acknowledge Commissioner Montgomery, and he is the appointee of an administration with whom we have some philosophical differences. Within that framework, we have been able to cooperate with the Commissioner in ways that I think have been mutually beneficial. I want to acknowledge the assistance he's given, and I will want to say that even on areas where I know we might have had some ultimate policy disagreement, we've been able to trust fully what he's told us, and we appreciate that. I do want to comment on one point, which is some have suggested that one of the contributions to the fund, and let me just talk about the money for the fund, not from appropriations, but from other housing-related activities. Some of it comes from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Now, I do find a great inconsistency on the part of some who have been arguing for years that federal legislation gives Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac an undue advantage, that they are able to borrow cheaply in the marketplace because of this perception of a federal backup that I think is an inaccurate perception, and that Fannie and Freddie benefit too much from this and don't do enough for the public. Agreeing with that, we responded by saying, yes, we will take a small percentage of the money that they make, far less than they get from these advantages, and require it to go to affordable housing. Having done that, some of the same people who told us we were letting Fannie and Freddie get away with murder now say we are being unfair to the murderers. Somehow it is no longer a case of Fannie and Freddie getting too much from these advantages, but us preying on these poor, unsuspecting private corporations. They are not wholly private corporations. They are quasi-public entities, and we think that the alternative of reducing the advantages they get and diminishing the amount of money that's available for housing is not a good one. The other choice, of course, is to leave the status quo in which they get more benefit than they should and that they pay back, and we've taken what we think is the middle course. We leave the benefits, although with greatly increased regulation, but we use some of that money for a good public purpose. Similarly with the FHA, our bill, contrary to suggestions that it's going to lead to FHA fee increases, in the bill that our committee passed, we seek to prevent the Bush administration from increasing FHA fees, not because there is a need to do that to do FHA business, but to help benefit the general treasury. And Section 30 of the bill would prohibit HUD from increasing any FHA premium above the level that was in effect at the beginning of this fiscal year, unless the Secretary shows that in the absence of an increase, the program would require a subsidy from the Congress. So we, in fact, strengthen the resistance to FHA fee increases, and that applies to what we're doing here. If anything in this legislation that we have passed on the FHA that would get incorporated here would cause a fee increase, that would kick in. So we, in fact, prohibit fee increase. In fact, our bill says no money goes to the housing fund if it would threaten a fee increase. So the truth is that the bill that we passed already on the FHA, and it's all part of one package, and conceptually prevents the fee increase that is being contemplated. And I will say, and I don't ask for any comment on this, that my sense is that the desire for this fee increase did not come from the FHA, and it didn't come from HUD, that it came from OMB, and that is to be the FHA's contribution to the war in Iraq. And we make it very clear that the FHA fee should increase only if there was a need to do that for FHA business. With that, I am going to move on. I do want to say that I again appreciate that within these differences we've been able to work with the Commissioner. I am sorry that I will have to miss our former Secretary Cisneros. I had the privilege of working as a committee member under the regime of the two Henrys, Henry B. and Henry C. Henry B. Gonzalez, who is up here, and Henry Cisneros, are two Texas housing champions whose very fruitful collaboration continues to benefit this country today. I thank the witnesses in advance for all that they have done, and I will now turn the hearing over to the gentleman from California.